All right, everyone, a podcast was promised and I'm somewhat delivering. I'm just super thrilled to have kind of started and embarked on this whole journey of just being able to interview and just like have great dialogue with just people on this earth, people in my life, people all around. And I'm here to say that the first episode is here. So our guest today, his name is Jason Carr. He's one of my closest friends, and Jason's just been rocking it at a lot of things. And just I'm itching for you all to kind of hear a little bit about his background, his story, and just overall, kind of what he's currently up to and what he's striving for. So, without further ado, we'll get things started. If you have any questions at all about the interview, the discussion with Jason, he does provide some ways of contacting him at the end of the podcast, just at the end of the show and everything. So feel free to definitely reach out to him and then inquire about more questions if you're curious about any of it. So without further ado, let's get things started. And one thing definitely before I do start, I know the audio was a little bit interesting at the beginning. It was a little bit difficult to hear Jason, but about maybe I'll say about less than a minute into everything, I was able to adjust the audio and everything, so you hear Jason fairly well throughout the rest of the podcast. Like I said, everyone starts from somewhere, and this is one of my beginnings of my podcasting days. So bear with me. We will get better equipment in the future, but here's the conversation with Jason. So for everyone listening, everyone right now, this is my friend Jason Carr, really, really good friend of mine. I met Jason at Amazon in Columbus, and I honestly feel like this. I met a long lost brother. Like it was very, our relationship was very platonic and like very like easygoing, and like Jason, for me, like the biggest thing like you really stuck out to me is like you came to Ghana. No, you came to the U.S. from Ghana, like. I mean, honestly, not too long ago at all, really. And you've already done so much.
Appreciate it.
Already done so much. So I definitely wanted to, as I kind of embark along this whole journey of potential, podcasting, just seeing like, where I could take it. I wanted to like, introduce my listeners to people like yourself, young, like enthusiastic, like go-getters, like, I see a lot of myself in you, and there's a lot of things that I learn, and I do learn from you too, believe it or not, and stuff like that. And like I'll tell you, like one thing that you've already done that I look at you like, my guy has bought a Tesla. Like, Jason, like what, 25? Like 20? Like,
Gonna say that.
I know you were, but like. Without further ado, we'll jump into a little bit. And so I want to start first, just for everyone listening, just like, because like I said, we met at Amazon and you were kind of fresh into the States, right? So like for you, what was it kind of like leaving Ghana? Like I want to get like a full scope of where you're at, like past, present, and future. So.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on your, there's a pilot, right?
What's up?
There's a pilot, right? Like
yeah.
First of all, I just want to say thank you. It was, pleasure you reaching out to me and asking me, man. It means a lot, so I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
I'm humbled to be on your show. But to your question, coming over here, to be honest, I think it was like mixed feelings, It's like I was nervous, but then again, I felt like this was a new beginning for me, because I was coming to like a whole different country, different state, different people. I know nobody here, right?
Yeah.
So like I felt like a lot of the shenanigans from my past would be done and dealt with. I feel like it would be like a whole new beginning for me, because in case you didn't know, I was still in college in Ghana.
Yeah.
In the Ghana, University of Ghana. And I actually didn't get to finish because when I got my green card, they gave us a timeline to leave the country. That's how it works. Yeah. So like we had about like a 6 months, probably less than that if I remember quite correctly. We got the green card in August, and we had that until like November. Yeah. No, to November to leave. So
about 3 months span, a little bit.
Yeah. So we had to like literally like think about funding and like where we're gonna stay, and then like what we're gonna do. Like a lot.
What exactly for your family? Like, so you came, starting up in a little bit. Like Ohio. Like, why Ohio?
So the initial plan was to move to New York.
Hey, big life.
My uncle. To live with my uncle. But like some family issues came up. With my dad's side of the family, and then we had to like switch to Ohio. And then like the funny part is we didn't know we had family here, because when we got here, Simone, we actually lived with my dad's friend's cousin.
Oh, wow.
I know. It was not family related, bro, because the only family we had, like all our family are in New York. So that was the initial planning. Like, there was some, family issues with my dad's side, and it was like, what, change the plans, we're going to Ohio. So apparently my dad's friend's cousin, who apparently has like a 6-bedroom house here, a very welcoming man, shout out to him, decided to like take us all in. So he had a big house, so he didn't really mind. It was like what, 6 of us that came. Yeah, so we lived in the basement. It had like 4 bedrooms. He gave them all to us. He had kids in there too. So yeah, that's how it pretty much started.
Man.
But yeah, back to your question. I was really nervous because I felt like, it's America, like, and besides, like in Africa, like we hear, like a lot about America, like, in the news, like.
And what age were you?
I was 21.
21. Wow. Yeah. So to like literally leave everything that you knew, and I mean to be in college and to make that transition too, I think it's huge, because personally for me, I mean, I came here with my family when I was 5 years old. So, like I didn't have much of an experience in Ghana to know, but like you had such a huge shift, and I mean you've accommodated so well, Jason, just from everything I've observed you doing and everything. So, I mean, how so leaving friends, like coming here, reconnecting, like what was it like, either like starting all over, right? So like either making new friends, like what was getting into the whole feel of working in the US?
Right. So that was the hardest part. Like I said, like that was like the never side of it. It's like, like now it's like I have to make new friends, because in case you haven't noticed, I'm a very shy guy.
Man, you're blossoming. You're blossoming.
Yeah, I'm a very shy guy. So, thinking that, oh man, like I gotta, make new friends, getting new. Well, again, in Ghana, I didn't really, work because, like I was in college. Like in Ghana, like it's not like here where you can actually work and then go to college. Like in Ghana, like, when you live with your parents, you go to school. Your parents take care of you. So
must be nice.
My dad told us that, we're coming to America, so we're gonna have to do both, work and go to school. So to me, I was like, work and go to school. Like, how am I gonna do that? Because I didn't have any like working experience, like working like a 9-to-5 job or like an 8-hour job or whatever. So that was the nervous. I was scared. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. So that was a challenging part for me. But I told myself that, hey, it's America. It's a land of opportunities. Like, if you can make it, you can make it, because, just like you already know where we're from, you need more than just hard work to succeed. But over here, hard work can take you
far,
a long
so far. And man, I mean, there's so much truth in what you say in that, because I mean, to a lot of minorities and foreigners, right? We all talk about and think about the American dream, right? And how real that is. And like what you just said there, I mean, it's so true, because you don't have to be the smartest person in the room in the United States to make it far. Yeah, to succeed. And then that's, I mean, that's big. So for you, right? So you talked about that, a little bit of that balance, right? The whole having to adjust to a 9-to-5 and also school. So before we met at Amazon, when we were both associates there, did you originally work somewhere else before that?
Yes. So
tell me about it.
Yeah, when I
What was
first
Jason's
started.
first job in the U.S.?
Oh my goodness, you literally just took me down memory lane. It's crazy because when I first started, so when we got here, we had to wait for like a month to get our social security.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. Like when you touch down, you go through customs and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and they confirm that you're actually here. It takes about a month, so we had
Wow.
to wait for a month, and then like in November, like we were living with our dad's friend's cousin, like I said before. So my dad told us that, hey, this place is a nice house, but that's not the plan. We can't just keep, living here. We need to get our own place. Besides, we're increasing, like this man's bills because we're using his water, his electric, so like my dad did not feel comfortable with us living there, So he was like, you know what? As soon as we get our social security, we need to get out of here. Find your own apartment. So the plan was to just like find something to do, something that paid. We didn't even care how much we made, just something, just so we could save, So
just to get your feet wet.
Exactly. So I applied for Giant Eagle.
Giant Eagle. Oh my
Giant
gosh. All right.
Eagle.
So for Jason, for the people that are listening that don't know what Giant Eagle is, what's Giant Eagle?
Giant Eagle is like a supermarket where you can just go get groceries, like Walmart, Kroger. In Ghana, that's so we don't really have those type of things in Ghana. In Ghana, like if you're trying to like go grab like groceries, you go like the market, like the streets, hawkers. So it's like over here, like they've made it a little bit more suburban. Like, you guys have lights, like
established.
Where we're from, it's like you're getting carried from like the ladies falling down the streets. Like,
hey, the daylight, the sun is your light when you're grocery shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't have any, like checkout type of thing. Like we don't have carts. Okay, you just grab it, like
bulletin bag the way.
Bulletin bag, exactly. Yeah, and you just like grab your stuff. And like we pay cash. We don't do no debit or credit card.
There we go.
We pay cash. but yeah, I applied for Giant Eagle. I did a whole interview.
What was that interview process like?
Oh man, it was the fastest interview I've ever had. It seemed to me that they were more desperate than I was. Because for a job that was literally paying me $8 an hour, come on now.
Man, what were you doing there?
I was a stalker. I was a stalker.
Like night shift or like day shift?
My shift was actually like, it wasn't certain. There were days that I would do a night shift. There were days that I would do a day shift. It was I was
more floater.
I'm sure of both. But yeah, I was just stocking shelves with whatever that was running out. If it had juice that was running out, it was my job to walk the floor, see which one we were running out, go and at the back, grab whatever it was, come restock them. There were days that I had to go to the back to like cut, celery, some veggies, put on my apron. Man, it was a hustle, bro.
I'm just thinking about that, right? So it's like, to make the transition, to make that transition from Ghana here, and then first job, you're at a grocery market with like
I know
all these.
Why did I even bother?
So I guess the question. So next, then, so like, how did you find yourself at Amazon? So you said, like, when you and the family first came, your dad made it very clear that, hey, we want to try to build ourselves. We're not going to stay in the same situation. You said at Giant Eagle, you were around $8 an hour starting off,
$8 an hour.
Which is even crazy to me because 21 was like about 4 years ago. I'm like, even minimum wage, was at least even higher than that, right? About like 12, I think, at least. So that's crazy. Like to think. You were only at an $8 wage. So like, what led to the transition to like finding Amazon? So after Giant Eagle, like, were you like what led to your transition?
Yeah. So I think like after like a couple of months, I kind of like got tired of it because I felt like I had education and I didn't really belong there. And then I felt like I was, capable for working for a company that, had growth in it, a company that could move up and excel, a company that was at least in line with what I was pursuing in school, which was business management, right? So I was like, Giant Eagle, it's not going to cut it. The plan obviously is to, like you said, get our feet wet, but I can go a little higher than that. Like $8 an hour with all of this, workload, work environment. I feel like I deserve better. So I think my dad's friend's cousin, that man that we're living with, he had a son. His name is Junior. He's actually also Ghanaian, who actually was like, hey, I just got a job at Amazon. Would you want to apply to, just so we could have like free transportation to and fro? And I was like, sure.
Did you have any idea of like kind of what the job would entail, or like?
No idea. Dude, he told me they paid $15 an hour, and I was like, sign me up.
I love it.
I said, sign me up, bro. Like $8 for $15, that's almost double. I was like, bro, sign me up.
You're like promotion.
Yeah, it felt like a promotion. So I was like, dude, like, let's do it. I didn't even know where it was. I didn't know the distance. Like, sign me up.
Wow.
So we applied for it, and then that was just magic.
Now look at you. So go ahead and update the listeners on currently what is Jason's current role at Amazon? Well, where you started and where you're at.
I am an area manager right now at Amazon. I'm an L5.
Let me clap that a little bit. Say that again a little bit louder for the people in the back that didn't hear you.
Level 5.
Level 5 area manager. Now that's a huge accomplishment, man. Huge accomplishment.
But yeah, so after the whole, after we applied, we actually went to, we got the whole email back, how you had to like fill it up, put in your social security just to make sure you're legit and all that. We got that part done, and then we got scheduled for an interview, and the interview was like pretty quick. I think back in the day we used to do interviews. So I don't know if you guys didn't do it, but I had to do an interview. So I did it. It was pretty cool, like a 5 minutes interview. They just wanted to know where I worked at, my work background. I didn't really have any. I just put in a Giant Eagle, and then that was pretty much it. But yeah.
So
then, go ahead.
I'm a little bit curious. So like people that are listening that like they know how like either crazy Amazon can be, and like either when you started off as like a tier 1 associate, and you said, I mean, you got a lot of things like kind of going on in your life at that time. I mean, you were still in school, right. So like managing, like how did you manage school and Amazon like full time, and then even the transition between like tier 1 associate gradually moving up to management to where you are now, like and where you are with school. Like tell me a little bit about that.
It was hard, like it wasn't easy, to be honest with you, but I saw myself in a land of opportunities. Like I said, where from, and to me I felt like this was beneficial, like the fact that I could actually make money and then go to school, to me was, in as much as it was hard, I felt like to me it was beneficial because I could still make money and go to school. In Ghana, you only have it one way. But I had it 2 ways. So to me, it was a little bit of motivational. I could buy my own books, buy whatever that I needed with that money. So it was worth it. Plus, like, there was a drive to it because when you think about it, the benefits of being able to be done with school here while working in your field, it's like unheard of. I knew what Amazon had for me. I knew where it would take me. So there was a motivation attached to it. It was hard, but I sat down and I was like, hey, it's hard, but think about the end goal here. You don't really have a degree here. Imagine where Amazon could take you if you had a degree. How you started with a company, going through the motion, and gradually getting done with school, the recognition and decorum you will get from the company would be worth it. So to me, that was the drive. I was like, I'm not always going to be an associate. At the end of the day, one way or another, the degree or the hard work, or both, we're going to pay off.
Did
So
you
that was a drive for me.
when you were at that tier one level? I mean, did you always have that mindset that you did want to move up in the company? Like you saw yourself at that manager level. Is that what you strive for, or like when you first started, were you more on the mindset of kind of like what your dad has said is that like we want to try to keep making as much as we can and grow and grow. Like I'm kind of curious a little bit, like like getting that first big boy Amazon check. Like what was that like?
So it's funny because Simone, when I first started Amazon, I didn't like the idea was not to move up.
Really?
I just wanted to make money and just like I didn't really have that vision, I just wanted to make money and then just see where life takes me. I think I was more focused with school. So it's funny because even like on my first day, I didn't even have money to come to work.
Wow.
It's a funny story. Like I came to this country with $20 in my pocket, Simone. $20
Really?
in my pocket. That's all I had. Like I had $20 to my name. And it's funny because just fast track back. I went to church. I prayed to God. I said, "Hey, I got $20. I'm gonna do an offering. Please bless it and make it a lot." Right. Fast forward, I got to Amazon. Well, sorry, $10. So I
even less
to the church. Bro. I let $10 to the church. I had $10 left. Right. And it's funny because in Ghana we Uber with cash. I mean, like you can Uber with debit card, but cash is more like predominant, right? So when I came to this country, I thought I could just grab an Uber and just pay the driver with cash, right? So when I was coming to work on my first day, I got here, which was actually the wrong day. I got here 2 days before my actual day.
Oh man,
dude, and it was freezing, like freezing. So I got here. First of all, I could not get into the building.
What?
I could not get into the building. I got here and I was freezing outside because you know how you have to badge it to get into the building.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have a badge, so I kept knocking. I kept screaming. I said hello. I was like a crazy black pure fresh off the boat.
He's like let me in. I want to work. I want to make money.
Dude, literally. So there was no one opening the door, and I was like, well, my ride isn't here because my dad dropped me off because the plan was I'll work the whole shift and he would come grab me. So my dad was not there, and I was like, well, that's great. I kept calling him because this was an hour later. I kept calling. I guess he was sleeping, so he couldn't pick up. And I was like, oh well. So I thought I was gonna walk. I don't know if you remember Decent Money entrance. I thought I was gonna walk all the way from the entrance
all the way home,
the way to the gas station.
Oh my gosh, that's about a 2-mile walk,
bro. Exactly. So it's funny because I thought well, that's my only option. I don't know what to do. So as soon as I tried leaving, someone opened the door. Whoever it was, I don't remember. Wow. I think it was an associate who was walking to their car. So as soon as he walked, I was like, "Hey, can you hold on to the door for me?" So
one of the biggest rules in Amazon: don't let people tailgate.
I know, but I didn't care because I was so freezing cold. I just needed some warmth. I went inside. I sat down for an hour after I told him I was scheduled for my first day. I sat in the break room for an hour, but no one came. And then later on, Austin had, he was the first manager. He came and was like, hey, you're not actually scheduled for today. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, you actually scheduled 2 days after. I was like, that's great. So I tried to take an Uber, right?
They didn't even let you work?
No, they didn't let me work because I wasn't scheduled. I didn't have a badge. I tried to go home, bro. I grabbed my phone. I tried calling Uber. They said, debit card only. I was like, yikes.
I said, what kind of country am I in?
What kind of country is this? There was no cash option. What? And I thought, dude, what do you mean? Let me set the ride and then pay the driver in cash. I had to pay on the Uber app before they would get me a ride. I was like, oh my god. So I was pretty much stuck when you think about it. I was stuck.
Wow.
I was stuck. I called my dad, he wouldn't pick up. I called my mom, my sister, no one was picking up. And it was late at night, we were the night shift, so they were all sleeping.
Wow.
And dude, I was stuck for, pretty much 3 hours. Until I was like, you know what? I went in there, I talked to Austin, and Austin gave me I begged him. I said, hey, here's what's going on. I just need to take an Uber for me, and I'll pay you in cash. So it was Austin who actually, set the Uber up for me, and I gave him cash to compensate him.
Oh my goodness! Talk about
that was my first experience on the job at Amazon, and I will never ever forget.
Wow! Now look at you now, driving to work every day in your Tesla. Going, man. What was that feeling like? What was that feeling like purchasing that vehicle? Because I'll tell you. So, we both, we were interested in the stock market and all that stuff. And, when Tesla dipped down, I forgot what it was like, I forgot how much it was a share, but it was like affordable, right? And we both started buying shares. And then out of nowhere, I feel like one day I just like see you on social media. I'm like, this man bought a Tesla. Oh gosh, you gotta tell me about that, man. Like, what did that feel like? Like, now I know, like, someone as hardworking as you are, like, to be able to purchase a vehicle like that. Like, walk me through that a little bit. Like, how did that feel for you?
So, Tesla was my dream car. Ever since, like, I heard of Tesla, I was like, I want to drive that car. That's what I told myself. I was like, I don't know how hard I need to work to get it, but I am going to get it. So, I think I bought it on January 6th, 2022.
How long were you saving? How long were you, like, saving up or, like, planning for that car?
I saved up for a good 7 months.
Wow.
7 months. I knew I didn't want to buy the car and then, I didn't want the car to be a burden to me financially. So even before I made the purchase, I made sure I made the right moves. My dad would go with me. He would look at the interest rates. This is not good. Give it a second. Give it 2 months. So we actually went to the dealership like 5 times.
Man, you did your research.
Yeah, because my dad, shout out to him, he was like, I know you love the car, but you don't want to drive the car and then regret it. Because this is a huge financial decision. This is a beautiful car. This is a Tesla. Like,
Speaking of any regrets that you brought up, do you have any regrets of buying a Tesla?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
and it's worth it. As a matter of fact, God willing, I would actually go for the more expensive Tesla if I'm blessed enough to be able to afford it. Because
I see those blessings coming.
Now, it's like a part of me now. That's how I see it. It's a part of me now because the product, the brand, what it's doing for humanity, the comfort it comes with, to me, is worth all the hype. And I could never go back to driving a gas car, and I hope I don't sound conceited when I say it that way, just because, like...
no, I mean, not at all.
Yeah, I value what it does to me so much, and I think I just want to stick to it.
And I honestly, like your overall story so far, I mean, just for me thinking about it, like, being able to make that purchase, I think it was like a huge mark into success, right, for you? Because, I mean, you came from having $10 in your pocket, and then being able to focus and, like, work hard and achieve, what you were able to achieve to make a purchase like that. I think, I mean, that's huge for me. That's huge for me because not a lot of kids, not a lot of people our age, they'll stay focused enough to say, I want to save up for this item. Like, there's something that's really on my heart, on my mind. Like, a lot of people want things, like, handed to them. And, like, whenever I meet people that, I know that worked hard to obtain and achieve something, like, it really, like, motivates me even more on my goals and everything. So, like, I want to, for the listeners get a little bit into your current routine, right? Like, what on a day-to-day basis, maybe, like, what are you doing to, let's say, I don't know, get you to that next thing that you're looking forward to? Like, what does Jason's current day-to-day life look like?
To be honest with you, I'm not a morning person. I'm not an IG influencer. I swear to God, I don't wake up at 8 a.m. No, no, I don't do that. So, listeners, I'm not that guy. But yeah, I'm more of I usually wake up around like 10 o'clock. But it's still pretty early, give or take. But because like I don't sleep early. I suffer from insomnia a lot because the way my brain works, I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking like financially planning my life. Like planning. Like I'm a huge planner. Like I live in my head a lot. A lot of people that I know in my circle, which I'm pretty sure you've noticed too, know I'm a very quiet person because I'm always living in my head and planning financial decisions. Like, my family, my sister, my brother, the next move, work. I'm always like, thinking. If I'm not thinking, I'm praying in my head, talking to God. Like, that's how I move. That's how my life has always been. So I move correctly with everything that I do. So, I wake up, I just pray, of course, if you're a Ghanaian guy, you live in a big deal, African home, your parents don't play with
No, not at all.
Pray.
Not at all. I mean, so, that's our everything,
It's... And then, I just, I spend a lot of my days at home with my family. I only work 4 days a week. Okay. So on the 3 days that I'm off, I'm just spending time with my family. And even on the days that I do work, right before I go to work, I just make sure I spend some time with my family. Honestly, there's not really a lot to my day.
Well, what things do you do what things do you like to do for fun? Like outside of your Yeah,
I just started reading. My brother Jerome just introduced me to Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I think I have, but I don't. Give me one of his most common works.
There's this book that he this book that I just started reading. Let me see the title. I haven't really read a page yet, but he just literally gave it to me like a couple of days ago. So he literally just like introduced me to reading. I have not really started reading it, to be honest. I need discipline, so bear with me.
You're good. I mean, but like just having something though, like I mean, like you have like you're saying like I'm gonna like plan on getting to this, like it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
But what I spend my time doing a lot is I'm an artist. Like I draw a lot. Like I have like a whole book where like I have like all my collections and the things that I draw. And just until recently, I just moved to digital drawing. I just started drawing with my iPad. I used to do it a lot on with pencil work, with colors on sheets of papers. But now I'm trying to move to like digital. But I draw a lot. That's why I'm gonna spend my time. Like if I'm not at work, if I'm not in bed sleeping as usual, I'm drawing or I'm playing video games or this new habit that I'm just starting to do is I'm reading. That's pretty much what I do. I'm a very like home guy. I don't go out a lot. I actually don't go out at all.
But like you stay like focused on your goals, and like a little bit more about that. I know you were telling me that you're starting to dabble a little bit into cooking. So Chef Carr, go ahead, tell me a little bit about that.
So I at some point felt guilty. I felt like I've been spoiled my whole life. Like mama's boy, mom's always cooking, sister is always cleaning. And newsflash to the listeners, I'm moving out to my apartment, which I know Simone is gonna dive into later.
Yeah, I sure am.
So, but yeah, the goal this year, like I said, I feel like had like spoon fed my whole life, and I kind of just wanted to get out of my comfort zone. So I was like, what, I'm just gonna start to learn how to cook. I know how to clean for sure. Yeah, that's a given. But I think that was the only thing that I didn't know how to do as a man, as a 25-year-old. I want to learn how to cook. So I think I put it out there on my Instagram that hey, if anyone knows any like cooking, pages on IG, just hit it in my DMs because I actually have a lot saved right now and I feel pretty confident. So that's like a new journey that I'm not like venturing to, but I guess we'll see how that turns out.
I have faith you'll do it, man. I think all your meals are going to be edible. I think you're going to be able to provide nutrients to your soul and hopefully not not starve. You know, I mean,
makes perfect. You know,
yeah, you know, if and
learn the hard way.
yeah, yes, you have to learn the hard way. You know, and if anything, you know, DoorDash is still an option. You still have Uber Eats. But
that's like Plan Z. Like, no.
I have mad respect for that though, because I mean, like, you've identified something really important. Like you've identified your own weaknesses that you believe at the age that you're at, you should be able to do certain things. Not a lot of people are able to take themselves out of that comfort zone and say like, no, like I need to start being able to do this, or I need to know how to do this, you know? Like for me, in my situation too, like I love a lot of my mom's traditional Ghanaian meals and everything. And it's, you know, I haven't taken the initiative to, you know, sit back and say, hey, Mom, I want you to teach me, you know, how to prepare these meals the way you do. I mean, yeah, we have YouTube and things of that nature, and I can always watch a video, but like no one makes it how Mom makes it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like I like that. Like what you're saying is very inspiring, because like, you know, it definitely drives me to start to, you know, want to have those conversations with my mom, to take the time. Like let's say, you know, next Saturday or something, to say like, hey Mom, like teach me how to make jollof rice, like, you know, like teach me how to make this stew, you know, like I want to learn from you, because, you know, it's going to get to a point in our lives where, you know, those role models in our lives aren't there to do the things that we were so accustomed to. And I mean, that's huge to be able to want to take that step, you know, and get more of that independence, and moving forward in that independence. Like, Tell me a little bit. So, getting your own apartment like that is, I like this, right? It's leading us more into the future, right? So, for you, what are you looking towards within like the next 2 to 5 years, and like especially so starting with the move of how you're saying like wanting to get your apartment and everything.
Right. So, getting an apartment to me, it's more of a journey for me. I have lived with my parents since I came out. I came to this world, and there are a lot of things I was privileged enough not to learn, like cooking, cleaning. I can clean, but I can't, like, not to the point where it's like I own, you know how, like, you know, you can't clean your own room. I want to be able to go to myself, clean the whole house. You know, because I own the house. I don't live with anybody. Now it's like I'm in charge of not just the room, but in the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room, everything. You know? So to me, a lot of people think that, oh, you know, you're moving out, that's so cool. You know, like, they make it sound luxurious, but to me, that's not it. It's more of like a journey, like a learning curve for me, because I don't want to be the guy that comes home. It's a very deep conversation, but I don't want to be the guy that comes home and expect my wife to be cooking and cleaning. I think like the direction the world is moving into right now, women and men are pretty much, if not quite there yet, are in the same caliber of workload when it comes to, you know, 9-to-5 jobs. And you know, like, we're all tired, right? Yeah. I know, like, you and I, where we're from, traditionally we're taught that the woman is in charge of the kitchen, quote unquote. Yeah.
I've been told, you know, like, I've heard some of that, you know, from either like family members, and, you know, like, you know, having small conversations. Like, yeah, it's a very traditional type of thought.
But I don't want to be the guy that, you know, brings that to my family, because I am a firm believer that what a woman can do, a man can do, right? Like, if she can cook, you can cook. So it's just like a personal thing. I also want to learn, just so like in the near future, if I come home and my wife is tired, or she's pregnant, or, you know, whatever the situation is, I can step in and take over. You know, I want to be supportive. So in as much as this like a personal goal for me, I think like it might go a long way into, you know, helping me, you know, like, stabilize my family. You know, it's when it comes to like ownership. You know, like
I can tell you, man, all the female listeners, the wives, the girlfriends, they in the background chanting, "Jason, you preach, You preach. You better tell all the rest of them. You preach. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, it's a lot of truth.
I mean, it's true though. Like when you think about it, like that just. I know some men are still stuck in a traditional way. I mean, like everyone is entitled to your own opinions, right? Like that's okay, but I just feel like I just want to be like equally involved in the family affairs. Like I don't want to be like a single thing under my rules that I can't control.
Do. Yeah.
And then,
so I mean, it leads a lot more to the desire of being more independent that you're looking to obtain, and I think it's a huge like first step really to get there. And I mean, who doesn't want to be able to say that if it comes down to me being on my own to fend for myself, I can do it.
Right.
So and then it's huge. It's a huge thing to say. So you talk a little bit about like potentially like family in the future and things of that nature, and what you'd like to provide. So I want to ask you the question. So like, do you have like any big future purchases you'd like to make in the future, or like things that big goals you're trying to work towards? I know some of our past conversations you've said a little bit of some stuff you want to do in Texas. So tell me a little bit about that.
Right. So the goal is to just like live with myself for a year. My apartment is in downtown, so the plan is to live there for a year, give myself the entire year just to learn from January to December, to learn to live by myself, like as a person, like a man of his own, being responsible financially as an adult, cutting down costs, cooking, being very, very responsible. And then after a year, when my lease is over, God willing, the plan is to, after I've mastered it, is to move to Texas. Because
why Texas?
Because it's very warm. There's a lot of land, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunities there.
You trying to find Ghana in America?
You said what?
You said you're trying to find Ghana in America?
Yeah, I mean, the Ohio weather is not for me, to be honest with you. It's too bipolar for my liking, bro. Like it gets too cold here, and then like 3 feet of snow, you can barely drive to work. Like, what the heck?
Hey, I mean, but think about it. In Ohio, right? Within an hour, you can experience all 4 seasons.
I know. That's what makes me hate it. Like, what is this? But yeah, plus I don't know, like, there's something out in Texas that calls out to me. I think like we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Mentally, it's like there's something out there calling out to me. Like, I know I've always not wanted to live in Ohio, but when it came down to where I wanted to live, I was not entirely sure. So I prayed about it. Initially, I thought I was going to live in Florida because it's Florida, right? But ever since I prayed about this, like, this is in Texas, Texas, like, I don't know. It's like there's been like a sudden shift in energy. It's like now it's like all the attention is to Texas. I don't know what's there that's calling out to me, Simone. I don't know if it's like it's destiny or like God has someone out there waiting for me to bless my life. I don't know what it is, but I just know that Texas is calling, and I'm gonna be answering, God willing, in a year.
I like that.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can say about Texas. It's just something out there that's calling out to me, and I'm gonna go there and find out what it is.
Hey, so you plan on buying your first home, your first house in Texas too, right?
Yeah. But the houses, the plan is to not go too big.
Okay.
Because when you actually like looking at a time frame here, if things go in plan, God willing, I'll be 27, 28, with my first house. If I move to Texas and I'm able to get that house, I'll be 28. I'll be very young. So the plan is to, go easy on my first purchase. It's going to be a very nice, decent house, and then definitely not over $250K. Once I get that done,
start a little bit
how things work. You work on it, you build on it, price appreciates. And then somewhere like 10 years later when I'm, almost 40, I take that equity and go hard into purchasing the dream house. That's how I'm seeing things now. Things might change along the way, but in plain sight, this is kind of how the vision is looking like.
I think like just hearing that little bit for me, it's just when I think about it, it's like you're gonna start all over again with the putting yourself in an environment that you know very little about. You don't have a lot of contacts there, and it's like I think like that's just such a huge skill to have, to be able to say, you know what, I can pick up everything, I can leave everything, go somewhere else, and start anew. And I really admire you for being able to do that. You know, like, you know, some people are attached and are very drawn to the area that they're at, and they hesitate a little bit to look what's around the corner or put themselves into like a new environment that they don't know too much. But I mean, just to hear from you, like your ambition to do it, like you're saying, like you have a calling there, like you're just drawn to the idea of it. I mean, I think that's really dope. I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. I want to ask you, so like kind of as we're in more of the future talk, right? So as we look into the future today, what is one past regret that you wish you could have changed? And I know you're only 25, right?
Right.
But I look at this life overall, in whatever state we're in, as kind of like a revolver, like a circle, right? So you look at where you are now, 25 years old, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago, less than that. I mean, you left Ghana when you were a college student, transitioned here, right? And you went through a lot of like personal growth, and like you went through a lot of changes. So like, do you have a thought in your head where you're like, man, like I wish I could have done this thing differently, and I wish if I could go back, I would change it?
So a very close person to me told me this, that every single thing that happened to you, whether it's good or bad, has made you who you are, what you are, and has brought you to exactly where you need to be. I used to be that type of guy that would say, "Oh, I wish I'd done this the right way, or I wish I'd done that and not made that call, or not said that thing, or not done that." But I can't live like that. I feel like regrets are part of life. You know, it makes us who we are. So I can't look back and say, "Oh, I regret doing that," because the butterfly effect of it was like, what could have happened if I didn't done that? You know, now I know what happened when I did that, and it has brought me to where I'm at. Am I happy with where I'm at right now? Absolutely. So there are not really regrets when you think about it, even though, you know, there might be like a couple of things that you did, you're like, oh my God, you know, this is not the right way. But when you think about it, it's what has made us as individuals who we are, and has brought us to where we are right now.
Well said.
Am I making sense?
Well said. You're making perfect sense. And
exactly. So yeah. So like, it's hard for me to go back and say I have regrets when whatever that thing was has actually contributed massively to who I am and where I am right now, which I'm very grateful for.
It's a beautiful answer. It really is, because to tell yourself that, you know, everything that you've experienced has made you better for you, whether good or bad. I think it's a very powerful realization. Not everyone can have that view and mindset. And I mean, I love your answer too, because when I originally drafted that question, I was thinking as to like, oh, okay, I'm very interested what Jason, you know, would say to his past self, saying like, oh, like I wish I could have changed this, changed that. But I love your perspective on it, like your perspective of, you know, like whatever I went through, good or bad, it's made me who I am.
Right.
That's powerful. That's powerful. My one of my just last questions here, just for the viewers. Everyone's always seeking advice in this world, right? And where you currently at in life, you know, age 25, everything that you experienced, kind of think about this next question is, like if you're speaking to the Jason that was 21 years old, still in Ghana, about to embark on this whole life paradigm shift. So, like, what advice would you like to give your past self, knowing everything that you know now?
That's a good question. I would just tell him to just not be scared, because I feel like every good side of life is on the other side of fear. Every good thing in life is on the other side of fear. A lot of beautiful things aren't experienced because we're scared, So I'm glad I was able to overcome that, because look at me, when I started Amazon, it was very intimidating being around the managers. Oh my God, you're a manager, you're a seller, you have a red vest on, that's fancy, and like you work for Amazon, The intimidation could have driven me to not pursue this dream, right? But there was just something about you inspired me a lot. You taught me so much. Man. I feel like I owe my career to you.
Nah, man. Just in the background.
You're pretty much like my best friend, because I feel like I say best friend because looking back in my life, there were a lot of things that I could have missed out on if I hadn't met you. The urge to be a manager, to grow into the company, to be who I am right now was not there until I met you. You gave me the vision, you gave me the blueprints, So you helped me overcome that fear. I didn't even want to talk to the managers because I was so intimidated. But you would hold my hands and be like, yo, let's go talk to this manager, So every single thing that I've accomplished so far is because I overcame that fear. So if there's anyone out there who is feeling intimidated, I would tell my younger self that fear or that intimidation that you have in your heart, thinking, oh, I can never do this, or, I don't see myself, going to that place, or, being seated amongst these type of people, it's just all an illusion. If you actually work hard, this is more from personal experience. When you work hard and you pray, I think a lot of things really turn out to work out in the way that you never thought it would be. So
Amen.
The advice would be, get rid of the fear, go for it. Giving you 100%, just so even if things don't work out, you gave it everything.
Wow, Jason, that gives me goosebumps, man, because I look at what we're doing now, I look at what you're doing now, and I just think, I just asked myself, man, imagine what the next 10, 15 years is going to look like, and I'm itching to see what it looks like,
Yeah.
But I know, super exciting. And then just to have the mindset that you have, and I'll tell you, I know you give me some of that credit, but you've done that all yourself. It's one thing to have a blueprint, but it's another thing to actually muscle up the courage and say, I'm going to take action. A lot of it is the action. A lot of people can go on the internet and get on their phones these days and research how to do this, how to do that. But you can get a how-to guide. But if you don't ever take action, you don't ever get anywhere. And that's exactly what you did. You took action, so everything that you have now, everything that you've accomplished, you've done that. And you've proven to use your own strength and faith and get there. So I'm, like I said, when the whole thought of, wanting to start getting into podcasting, to talk to people, have people share their stories, you're one of the people that definitely came to mind. And I wanted my listeners to get to meet you and see where you're currently at in life, your past, present, and, where you're seeing your future to be. And, I also look at this as great opportunities to be able to, when we're 15 years into the future, be able to come back and kind of revisit our thoughts at this point in our lives. Yeah. And kind of revisit ourselves again. So, I'm truly blessed to have had the time today to chat with you, and I hope the listeners really enjoy the conversation as well. I did want to ask you, for any of the listeners that are out there that maybe want to have any like follow up questions for you, or they're like, I was really interested by Jason's story, and I want to like learn more. I want to ask more questions. How can people maybe get in contact with you, either email or social media, if you'd like to share?
Yeah, on social media, my name is just type in Jason Carr. You should see me. It's my face. It's my face. And I have email too. It's just my name spelled backwards. It's NOSAJRRAC 224@yahoo.com. You can email me, or you can just shoot me a text on social media, IG. I'm on Twitter too.
Nice.
My handle is Jason Carr. So yeah, like I'm an open book. Anyone can just reach out. Just if I have answers to your questions, of course.
Thank you so much, Jason. And I think definitely people that are listening to this that maybe like view themselves a little bit of an introvert as well, I think they can pick up a lot of stuff from what you've said today. Because you might classify yourself as an introvert, Jason, but you've done so much in my eyes. I'm like, man, he's extroverted. Like, you really like taken a leap in life, and I love that. I love seeing it, and I hope my hope and my prayer is I'm definitely able to grow the show more and more and be able to invite you back, and we give everyone, the listeners, an update on where you currently are and what you're doing and how you've evolved and changed. So thank you for your time today, Jason.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me in your show, Simone, and all the best in this podcast. Like, I'm gonna pray and root for you. I appreciate you having me in your show, buddy.
Hey, thank you.
It was nice talking to you, bro.
Hey, thank you. You too, man. We'll catch it up later.